Hey there, White Sox fans. Guess what? It's Side Sox Podcast number 16. I can't even count that high. You may know her as, I don't know, on another podcast, you may know her as Tara Swift. It's possible. From the Southside Hit Pen podcast, you would know her by many names, including Keelin Billue. And she's joining me for the first time on the Southside Sox Podcast. Welcome, Keelin.
Thank you, Brett, for welcoming me. It is I, Tara Swift. I am drinking again.
It's Sunday night, and we started out very chill.
Yeah, we did. We have already.
We'll see if we can kick this up. You know, it is sort of we just got out of the hind end of 2020. We've moved into the front end of 2021. Not a lot's happened.
No.
Things are still sort of cold, but we're going to try to make some stuff happen with
make it spicy.
White Sox and Southside Sox. Absolutely. So welcome, Keelin. And let's get spicy right off. Let's talk White Sox Twitter polls. Let's talk Twitter polls.
That is very spicy.
Apparently, you're a on the rise White Sox Twitter newcomer.
Yes,
apparently.
I am.
According to the Bennett Carroll poll.
Yes.
Which I made the mistake of just tripping into, apparently weeks into a triple and quadruple elimination tournament, and cracking a joke about why Southside Sox was not among the three what seemed to be fairly randomly assembled logs in the finals. And, you know, a few people, Bennett included, apparently didn't get or appreciate the joke, and was later.
Yeah, you got burned by the Jewish ginger. So you mess with the bull, you get the horns.
And listen, I was later even scolded for talking down to someone. But here's my point.
I don't know about this. Is that same?
Some Joe. I think it's Joe. Hey, Joe. But here's the thing. If you crack on me and say like, "Hey, dummy, it is the finals," okay, which is cool. That's cool. Sort of don't get the joke. That's fine. But then you can't come back and then say, "Now you're talking down to me." It's really got to be one.
Oh, I did not see that.
Dumb to pick up on the fact that it's the finals of the Bennett Carroll Bowl, or say, "Man, you're too high hat. I'm not down with it. Don't talk down to me." But it can't be both.
Yeah.
But I'll stop there. How you feeling about the poll? How's it going?
Good.
Is it over? Are you winning, losing? Well,
I'm losing terribly, which is it's still a win. It's still a win in my book, because I've only had Twitter for 2 years, I think, and I've only been active on it since the summer during the baseball season. So to me, I was like, well, I don't know, LOL. Like, what is going on? So yeah, no, it's very nice and to be recognized in an unauthorized White Sox Twitter poll.
Oh my God, it's like you have your victory speech already written out. Listen, a win for you is a win for me, because I dare say
you birthed me.
Pull you into Twitter.
It's true.
If I hadn't have pestered you, then maybe like talking White Sox online.
Totally. No, you birthed me. So that is one reason I'm like, I don't feel like I'm like, this is nice in general. And then, I believe Janice was just crushing myself and Dick the Knife, whose actual name is Dick, just crushing us. So, and that's fine because we're all friends, and Janice is one of us as well. So all around, it's just like, hell yeah.
Bold that the female vote was not split.
I think it makes sense because she's got like almost 5,000 followers, and then I only have 1,000 something, I guess. So it made sense. And Janice actually knows baseball, whereas I'm just like,
it's a minor thing,
figuring it out. So I think it makes sense. And, she's idolized in a way across different people, even people in our own group look up to her. So I am proud. Like I told her, this analogy will probably not make sense to most people that listen to this, but she's the Kate Middleton and I'm like the Pippa Middleton holding her dress, and people will be like, look at this picture of this girl in a dress and her butt. I'll take that. That's still good press.
Absolutely. It's press.
It is press.
Good.
Right. So I feel good about it, and thank you for giving birth to me.
Whew. And I survived. It was just last summer. Whew, man.
It was.
I'm still just recovering.
Actually, I think it was only a year ago. It was about a year ago that you reached out to me. So yeah. Hi, Mr. Wendal. Mr. Wendal's growling.
I was going to ask, does Mr. Wendal, which is Keelin's dog, going to make an appearance?
He's coming.
You've only heard him before on a White Sox podcast. Does Mr. Wendal ever get played his song?
He does get played his song,
and
I'll sing it to him sometimes.
Is he into it, or is he just not really care?
He's like, why are you making sounds, and why are sounds coming out of your mouth? And then he's like, this is fine. When
my food dish is empty.
Yeah, exactly. But he loves it. It's like, Mr. Wendal. Oh, see? He wants the mouth. Always kissing the mouth.
Oh.
It's kind of gross, but.
Well, this is a good kind of interruption, not necessarily barking or noise like before, but.
He was ready to blow, though. He was about to scream.
Yeah. But instead, we're sort of getting the semi-photo bomb.
Yeah. Look at this little guy. He may bark, so I'm sorry if he does, but.
It's only going to make things more interesting. And speaking of more interesting, there seem to be an endless, again, I just stumbled into this Twitter polling. It seems like there's an endless cycle of White Sox Twitter polls, including polls of people who engage, writing, etc., on Twitter. And of course, yes. the big one is the apparently the 108 tournament.
Yes.
Which, who knows? Maybe now that you're getting this early press, maybe you squeak into that. Who's to say? Maybe in fact, especially because I apparently catch hell about this too. Although I don't think I was dying on the hill of the sexism of the 108 poll last year. So anybody who wants to dig me now, shame on you, because many people spoke out, including I think some of the participants. But I reached out to the Beef Loaf, and we're cool. He knows Beef knows he put his neck out on the line for that. And listen, you live and die by these decisions. I'm guessing there won't be a women's bracket this year, or maybe there will. I don't know. Maybe they're going to double down on this thing.
Yeah.
But but the air was cleared there. But I want to say, before we get into your thoughts on the 108 tournament, because this is very important stuff. I want to say that your Izzy, Mrs. Beefloaf, Skittles, Mr. Skittles, Bobo, Helmet Nachos, anybody thinking of putting this thing together. First of all, I know I'm probably power ranked about 801. So I know this isn't in danger, but if I am ever in one of these tournaments, I insist on being put in the men's bracket.
The men's bracket?
That's all I have to say about that.
What if you're not? What if you're?
I think I will refuse my bid, and I think I will go for the NIT. I will accept an invitation to the 108 NIT, whatever that is. Maybe it's the Bennett Carroll tournament, whatever. I will.
Yeah.
I'm going to accept the NIT if I can't be in the men's bracket.
Good.
Your feelings?
Double down.
Your thoughts?
You should double down on it. Here's the thing. I feel like everybody that's included in that will destroy me. I'm also not very confrontational, or when I am, I'm usually way too personal. So that's how I feel about it. And as far as on the Festivus show too, I wanted to say that those guys, I think somebody gave them shit about being female friendly or something, and that was the term that was used, female friendly, which is funny to me because in general, and I think I've written about this before on Twitter, I don't know if whoever gave them shit about it used the term female friendly, but I was like, can we just back up and can we start with not using the term female? Can we just say women? It would be great if we just said women. So I'd like to start there. That's one thing. And I don't think that's those guys. I think that's in general, I see people saying female, female, female. And I'm always just women, we're the same species as human men. So that was one thing that I thought was just more humorous than anything when I listened to the Festivus show, because I was where are we going with this conversation? But I mean, they did send out a full frontal postcard with their little suits on and stuff. So I would say it's like HBO level friendly.
I really wandered into more detail about this than I really thought I was. Wow.
I went off on a tangent.
No,
I thought about
fired
it.
back. You fired back. It's fine.
Yeah.
I opened it up, but okay. So men bracket. That's the only one I will accept. Men bracket.
He only accepts men brackets.
Men bracket.
And women brackets, if there is one.
Have we resolved?
I don't know. There shouldn't be a man in a woman bracket. Let's get real here.
No, I mean, I found it odd. Perhaps maybe I was super spicy. I don't think I stuck my neck out about some goofy like fan poll Twitter popularity contest thing, but it did strike me as counter productive or counterintuitive. I get what the thinking was. Hey, let's acknowledge some important voices out there. But then when you pile them into the sidecar on a large highway, that seems sort of
it could. I feel like it could be, if they're going for weird, it could be infinitely weirder, and it could be good if you combine.
I mean, to be fair, I think there's like other brackets like old goats and jackasses and whatever.
I want to be in that bracket.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not as if they're, it's not if the whole premise is politically correct. So I get the idea. I get that I understand I was shouting at a cloud. I get it. But
I think that's the thing in general. Said, it's all fun.
Yeah. And
even though some people forget it's fun.
Perhaps too much time spent on that. But hey, we're off to a rousing start. Okay. Speaking of, pot. Did we ever make a decision on helmets? Is there a preferred helmet at the ballpark? Is it more the food nacho helmet, or is it more the dessert Sunday helmet?
I think it depends on the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Day game, you're going like a Sunday helmet. Night game, nacho.
I feel like a hot day, Sunday's the way to go. But yeah, I think nachos are the safest bet.
And have you determined if one needed to be dumped on you, which it would be?
Both.
Because I think that was the pressing issue that came out of the time previous we spoke.
Both at the same time. And it won't be, it's not going to be sexy either. It's just going to be like, what is that movie? Spaceballs, like Pizza the Hut. It'll be like that, like a mound.
Like, ma'am, you have to leave.
Yeah, they're going to be like,
we're going to escort you out for what you've done.
I'm going to be like, I can't get out from under this pile of food.
For the crimes you committed against concessions, you must leave.
Think of the children. They're starving.
Yeah. You've written some stuff over the year for us at, I believe,
not that much, but a little.
Three different locations, 3 different locales, and that's more a diss on us than anything else. But perhaps we have a home now. I don't know. Maybe you're not even seeing this on Southside Sox. Maybe we've already moved on somewhere else. But I think perhaps the most recent thing, although there's pretty interesting pot you're stirring. We'll get to that. But Adam Engel's back.
Adam Engel.
How are you feeling about that?
Well, as you know, the thing I think I last wrote was about Adam Engel, and I just feel good about him.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, honestly. Like, I don't know. I mean, he just has obviously, worked extremely hard, and I feel like he has the natural speed, and it seems like he's working hard enough to make strides and improving in other areas. And I'm a believer. So I'm really glad that he is still going to be with us for a little bit. Because I don't know, I think, I know we've come up with the Adam Eaton solution. That's what I'm going to call it for now. But I don't know. I mean, it's basically like, is that a solution? So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to treat that as a rhetorical question. But if that rousing support of Adam Engel hasn't wet your whistle enough, or hasn't just left you completely satisfied, I will link to that Adam Engel story, which was written as a bit of an appreciation as a guy who's a little bit unsung playing a sort of unsung role in Lucas Giolito's no-hitter
He
last.
did. Because that was not, I mean, you watched the video, I talked about it in the article, like that was a really hard catch to make. And he like busted his ass, he almost busted his ass getting it and then was just like dead afterwards. So, I mean, if he hadn't caught it.
Inadvertently, part of the shit I got from the president of the BBWWAAA at the time. That was phase one. And then phase two had to do with, like a follow-up on the no-hitter.
Yeah.
Fun, man. Last summer was fun.
2020
so much rocked.
I think people are just home and they're like, everything's bad. And then they go crazy. There's been a lot of the narcissism has been next to me. Yeah. I feel like the narcissism's been out in full display this year for those that carry it easily.
But it's a new year and a new leadership at the BBWWAAA and
refreshing things.
A much more dignified president in C. Trent Rosecrans. So
I actually know nothing about that. So if you'd like to tell me.
I don't think there's really much to say. In fact, I think the president gets deposed every year or two. And probably everybody gets a turn because, everybody has to play nice with everybody else. Apparently, so I've learned you can speak no ill of even the most insipid writing out there. And it cannot be offset by complimenting great stuff, which I think is sort of how it should work, right? Hey, awesome piece, Keelin. Man, Keelin, that was a shitty piece. It doesn't work that way. Now, granted, I don't think I'm going to necessarily do that. Especially because we work together. I can say, hey, Keelin, rewrite. But if it's published, saying, I don't know, the Chicago Tribune, maybe it should be something that's really good. It's good.
Yeah, but you should hold each other to standards.
There should be standards, and yes, if someone does actually hold to it, it's been a weird year. It's been a weird year. Hey, on that note, let's take a short break. Who knows? Part two of this podcast could be a lot longer and a lot spicier, but we're going to take a short break where on the podcast you're going to hear, I don't know, an ad or two. It probably is going to have to do with fantasy football, sort of incongruous. Could even involve some sort of natural hair coloring. I think I've heard that one too. But you're going to hear something. And who knows, perhaps as we come back for the break, Keelin may play us out of the break. Who's to say?
I can, but what do you want? Like, what do you...
He's really got a lot of attention. I'm going to guess there's been at least 5 Spotify hits based on perhaps just you and Tommy referring to Michael.
Getting his overdue due.
Michael McDonald. All right, we're gonna take a break and be back in just mere seconds. On the video cast, you'll hear no break at all. So that's the magic of the video. So see you in a minute. Hey there, while Keelin unbelievably remains silent for just a short period of time there, we are back on the Side Sox Podcast. It's number 16, and I'm here with one of our staff writers, Keelin Billue, who's written some very entertaining stuff over the years. Of course, as she self-admitted, perhaps not enough. So hopefully we're going to see a lot more stuff from her this year, and that will come perhaps, who knows, a full season of baseball. And hey, maybe let's leap into that. There seem to be rumors that the season is not going to be delayed, that spring training will not even be delayed. I suppose that is the absolute best case alternate universe scenario. I don't think it's completely impossible. However, are you feeling confident that we are going to have 162 games and a full spring training?
It was a tough one because I just looked at the COVID numbers from that new strain in the UK today, and it was really bad. So I could see us trying that. And by us, I mean the MLB, which I'm not affiliated with. And I could see it starting, and then it's like, oh, everybody's getting COVID again, so we need to stop. And I don't know. If they have a full season, I will be amazed. But I think there will at least be several games that will be canceled, rescheduled, because this isn't going away.
It's been pointed out that the NFL, with granted utter disregard for its players and some pretty full-on contact, and I also believe no semblance of any sort of bubble. I don't even know if that's true. I don't really pay a lot of attention to football. It's funny. I have football on my list here, and I admit I could give a hell about football. But the fact that they have actually played what I believe is on the verge of a full season is I won't call that a good sign for Major League Baseball, but at least makes it possible.
Yeah, it is. But they even still canceled several games, and they go like a week in between games. So, and I mean, as you know, and the audience knows, we play way more games. So I don't know how that's feasible, as many games as we play for as long of a season without breaks like that, because it would be like they would play, people would be on the COVID list, and then usually they would get to play like the next week, or maybe it would be 2 weeks. But that would mean they would only miss like 1 or 2 games. But with baseball, like, that's just not how that works. So I don't know how that would shake out. I mean, we would have guys missing a lot of games, and I don't know how, I mean, that would be pretty detrimental with some of those. So yeah, I don't know how that'll work if they don't do some kind of system, like more bubbly system, because for the NFL, they didn't really do that. They may say they did, but it was, like you said, it was almost like a normal season minus the fans being there. And that is something I follow. I know football league better than baseball. So I've been following that pretty closely this year, and it's pretty crazy. And I mean, even there's that Broncos game where all of their quarterbacks were none of them could play because they were on the COVID list, and they had to put in that one, he was like a running back or something that wasn't even like first string, I don't think. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but right now, just with how, I mean, the US, everybody's relaxed. And everybody wants to be back to normal, but then we have this new strain of COVID. It's going to be.
You say everybody's relaxed as if we're not always relaxed, like any of us act like we can. I mean, any of us collectively as a nation have really made or are willing to dig even deeper and make the sacrifices necessary.
Well, everybody's just tired of it.
Yeah, it's funny to bring up a sport that cares less about its players than baseball, but one does exist. And imagine if the NFL had a minor leagues. I guess they do because it's called college football, but even they might actually get more. I think they get fed better than minor leaguers do. But imagine if the NFL had a minor league. How that would be like they would be breaking rocks between games or something. I don't know how you could treat people worse, but I'm sure the NFL would find a way to treat their minor leaguers worse than baseball treats their own minor leaguers.
Yeah, no, that would be terrible.
See, I'm just feeding you story ideas.
Yeah,
they're just
I will go
filling out.
I'll go off because I know. I mean, even college players, like, yeah, you're right. They probably get fed better, but yeah, I mean, all of the stuff with the NCAA and the video games making money off of those players, and it's pretty crazy.
Not to veer off into football, because again, I care not for pigskin. However, do you think any time in the near future, or maybe any time ever, that the whole hypocrisy of it all is going to be shattered and they will actually be like paid beyond the value of the education, or at least at universities that are making billions of dollars or $1 billion or millions of dollars, whatever it is, or are paying their coaches $15 million a year, going to actually break past the fact, not play this game anymore and actually pay the guys some money? Or do you think that's never going to happen?
You ask so many tough questions. I think maybe it'll happen, but it's going to be a long time, because I feel like there's like a cultural thing with football, but also like a generational thing where I think some people who are older, not everybody, but some people who are older may still think like, well, they're getting to go to school for free. That's like all they need and stuff like that. And kind of like that bootstrap mentality. I think there's a bit of that's like, and with any kind of like legislative branch right now with people with that mindset in it, like nothing's going to get done. So I don't see that happening anytime soon, but I can tell you, seems like I have to bring up my brother every podcast. He played college football at Georgia, and this was in like 2001, I think, he started in 1999. He told me that even though they do get like meals and they're fed and given a dorm and, supplies for books and stuff, he said like the amount of food they need as like a college athlete is so much so that even their meal plan at times would not feed them. So like we can barely do that. And nobody seems to really want to change it. So
what's great about this is I'm going to manage to diss your brother and football like all in the same comment, and God bless you, Keelin's brother. But I think we finally have the reason why he's a Detroit Tigers fan. So several concussive blows.
Nutrient deficiency.
I understand now. Yes, and perhaps even the dietary restrictions
he was
placed on
malnourished
him by the Bulldogs. But all right, so you're not going to commit to the system changing in any substantive way in any time in the near future. And
I don't think so,
talking
but I hope so.
About college football.
Man. We veered so hard.
Gone bananas. All right, let's talk about stories that you may have in the hopper. There are many, but one has just snuck up on me as late as last night, and it's one that may be issued first, and it has to do with the Stars.
The Stars.
But different sort of stars. You want to tease that a little, or you don't have to. You can keep everybody in the dark, yeah?
Oh, I'll tease it. So, okay. I don't even know how to start this. I have a very loose side interest in the pseudoscience known as astrology. I know a lot about it, but I also don't believe it. But also, when it's convenient, I will cite it. So, it's, we're in a time where there's not a lot to talk about. So
we're in a time that doesn't believe a lot in science.
Yeah, we're in a time where pseudoscience is acceptable. Baseball's slow. So why not look at how the stars align for some of our current active roster? So everybody look forward to that coming in the next few weeks. Man.
And that implies a lot of research is going to go into this next few weeks. Not like tomorrow. Not like she's finishing it right now. Tomorrow.
Yeah. And this all started because I'm still researching Blackjack McDowell.
Yeah, I was going to refer to the Tilting at Windmills feature story idea that involves the pursuit of Blackjack McDowell. Update there?
I cannot find his contact information.
Yeah, he's no longer coaching in the Carolinas, correct?
No, he's not coaching there. I found that out because I emailed him there, and I got a bounce back, and I was like, what the hell?
funny that Blackjack McDowell would find himself out of a college mentorship role.
Well, yeah, and I didn't even know about all of his history whenever you were like, oh, maybe you should reach out to him. And this was before Tony La Russa was hired. So I'm kind of, in a way, glad that I wasn't ready, didn't get in touch with him. Then again, no, I still could have now. But yeah, I'm trying to find him. I can't find him, though.
Yeah, he'd probably have something to say about the White Sox hire, given the fact that he has thrown the organization under the bus with...
I'm shaking my computer because I'm dying to know. I'm dying to talk to him.
Okay.
So...
Don't topple the Amazon pants, Key.
I have a pile of pants behind my computer.
Hey, is any of the artwork a Billue original?
This one is right here. It's a collage.
Flippin' sweet. Wow. First we get Mr. Wendal, then we get a collage.
It's a collage.
Oh man, grapefruit sunrise?
It's a grapefruit sunrise.
Oh,
and a dude on a horse.
I think whatever you titled it, I think I just retitled it. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's all right. You can unframe it and scratch out whatever it was.
I'm gonna wait and put this back up.
Crash wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to pay that bill.
Yeah, I would be sending you an invoice for that for sure.
Okay, tell me something about this. The White Sox have been criticized for relative lack of inactivity, although, to be honest, barometrically, they are probably as active a team as out there, other than, of course, the San Diego Padres, who are spending monopoly money, which is cool for them. But, okay, do the White Sox look much better relative to the North Side team, which apparently does not see the opportunity of basically being able to back into a division title with even a reduced roster, because let's face it, they were going to cut a couple guys. They have actually literally cut a couple guys. They traded you Darvish. Do the White Sox end up looking good and aggressive and forward thinking just by virtue of the fact the team closest to them that they've been playing under the shadow of for a decade, if not more, is absolutely hacking down its roster in a division that is eminently winnable? Does that make the White Sox look better? Is it two completely different things? You think so?
I feel like it does.
Yeah.
Because I feel like even no matter how good each team, or if one's better than the other, if they're both good, we're always like low key comparing ourselves and using the other as like a metric to feel better. So yeah, I think automatically seeing what's happening to them is like, yeah, like we're doing okay. It could be that. But, you know, I think there's also, for me personally, there's a sense of like, that could be us too, and has been at times. So yeah, I mean, I think in a way we all do that. And it'll be interesting to see the crosstown games and how that's going to go. But yeah, they've really cleaned house. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Like, where's Theo Epstein right now? He's probably like on a beach with a pina colada or something, just like, and then yeah, like, where is he? Where is he?
I got out of there at the right time.
Yeah, or did he know, like, he had to have known this was
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, that there was
yeah.
going to be a budget, crush, and there were going to be some painful decisions to make, and he chose, I guess he chose not to make them. But he also chose to forego however $11 billion he was due to make in the last year of a contract. So he did walk away from that.
Well, and then like, the Ricketts, I'm always I'm more like curious about the Ricketts sometimes than I am about the Cubs themselves, because it's like, what is going on with the Ricketts? What are they? I mean, they've like rebuilt Wrigleyville. Like, what all is going on with those guys? It's like they've gotten this play money.
I find it ironic that when Sox Park was built, it was derided, legitimately or not, as like it was like a shopping mall and so forth. And it tickles me to no end that now basically Wrigley Field is pretty much literally like a shopping mall playpen. And I mean, I'm sure to great end for the Ricketts and for the city and all that, but I mean, it's literally like the heck's that place in the mall where you drop the kids and they learn
like
whatever
I don't know, like
called.
a play center or something. Yeah,
childless man here, but yeah, where it's just like it's romper room with beer.
It's Chuck E. Cheese.
And 20 years ago, the Sox were 30 years ago derided for having built this like shopping mall ballpark. And I get it's sort of two different things, but it's just sort of funny how things come around, and like literally now they're just absorbing all the neighborhoods.
They have an ice skating rink over there. Like, what?
Because I don't even know.
No,
yeah.
And it is crazy. I lived, I think I forgot the exact address, but it was
dangerously close.
Yeah, I lived on Addison at like Lakewood and Addison, or Racine and Addison.
That's like literally dangerously close.
Yeah, I was like right there. I mean, when I didn't have a lot of money, I would go eat at that sad Taco Bell. Actually, because of the memory, I would eat there. Yeah, because it was like, I only have $1 or a few dollars, so I'm gonna get like 2 soft tacos or something. So yeah, I mean, not that that's like some icon of heritage or culture there or something, but it is kind of crazy because.
But it is yet another business that was absorbed.
Yeah.
Greed.
Yeah, and you go over there now.
Because their Taco Bell inside the park now is going to sell that same dollar menu for, I don't know, is it the $10 menu?
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, yeah, and it's like I could actually afford to live there. I mean, I lived in like a garden apartment, and I had a roommate. It was like $1,200 total to live there, and I'm like, you're not gonna find that there now, not in the 2-bedroom 1-bathroom apartment. So
I think it's $1,200 to park in the front lawn of that apartment now. Yeah, at least game day, probably for a year pass.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's all, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that they are. I mean, and then I think there's been some talk about like they're going to do it right. Some teams have done it wrong, meaning like they're going to rebuild. They're not going to fully rebuild. I think maybe Cleveland was cited as one of the teams that did it wrong. Maybe I might have that team wrong, but that somehow I mean, for all the hell the White Sox got from their fans, again, probably rightfully for the white flag trade, and maybe even for the rebuild that was initiated with the Chris Sale trade and the Adam Eaton trade, meaning you have some assets on the table and you get rid of them to get worse. So then eventually you can get better. This very strange rebuild culture we are in. We have with baseball. And then the Cubs, before the season even begins, they're not selling at midseason, which the white flag trade was with the White Sox. They felt they couldn't win the division, probably erroneously, but decided to bail on a season that seemed still winnable. The season hasn't even started. The division we all know is horrible. It's far worse than, well, it's definitely worse than AL Central. The Centrals are terrible. The White Sox should easily win numerous games from those teams because Cincinnati appears that they're going to be worse. Cubs are making themselves worse. Pittsburgh's awful. Milwaukee, God bless our brethren right to the north. We love you, but they're struggling. They're in some transition. St. Louis, always pretty good. So I guess there's one formidable foe going into the season, and yet you're opting to seemingly punt the season because I'm guessing this isn't the only move they're going to make.
Yeah. No. Well, yeah, and I think, and I haven't caught up in a few days, but I saw like the Wilson Contreras stuff too. So yeah, it's really something. And I agree. I don't know. I mean, yeah, and like Chris Bryant is going to go, I'm sure.
Seems.
Yeah. So I don't know either. And again, I don't want to get all like conspiracy theory about it, but and like the Ricketts, something about everything they're doing. It's like, you built all this shit to, I feel like they're going to take their money and they're just like opportunistic, like swoop it in there.
Here's a question. And I've had this come up with at least a couple longer term baseball fans for the North Side than I'm even for a South Side fan. And let me tell you people, that's a long time. But if the Ricketts were to buy, and I know your allegiance to the White Sox is still, it's relatively new and fresh. You haven't been a 40-year fan.
I'm not as cynical.
If a Ricketts ownership group was to buy a team you loved, let's say it's the White Sox, but a team you loved, would that be a conundrum for you? How would your fandom change under those types of circumstances?
I mean, I don't think it would change, but I would be sad and I would be like, oh God. But that being said, I mean, well, the situation we're in now compared to that situation, the situation the White Sox are in compared to the situation the Cubs are in, I'd still say it's different because it's like, we haven't really given away anything. I know people are happy we're not spending, but we've still got we got dudes. Mm-hmm. We're not giving anybody away. I think the Ricketts in general, something about somebody like that taking over. How long have they owned the Cubs? 10, 11 years, something like that?
Yeah, I don't think it's that long. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a better part of a decade,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's, not too long. And it's like, they got the World Series, but then and rebuilt Wrigleyville. It's like, what else though? And it's like they've not done this before, I don't think. So I would just be, I feel like healthily skeptical about what are you guys gonna do?
Yeah.
Because it's not like we know they're, and this is gonna affect my own point, but it's like I don't know what their game plan is. With Jerry, we kind of see what he does and know what he does. Yeah, exactly. It's still unknown what those guys do. And then I think I made this joke on Twitter the other day. I lived in Nebraska for 8 months, and just seeing what Matt Ricketts, who's the governor of the state, does. I'm like, you guys just like to break stuff, get into your positions. I think their father's he founded TD Ameritrade.
I think so.
Birther. Yeah, great. I think just getting in they get in these positions because of who they are, which is, not uncommon, but then their success is yet to be proven, I guess. So I'd be skeptical.
It would be challenging for me to keep my level of current fandom under those circumstances. It wouldn't go away. I wouldn't renounce it, but I do think it would go fairly dormant, which would mean I don't know that I would be able to play this role on a site because It's just, I mean, this isn't signing Trevor Bauer, which even that would be a challenge, but you work around it. They are just guys, right, they're just wearing laundry, right, whatever, okay, and Lord knows Trevor Bauer's going to like implode, shortly before a 6-year $280 million contract is fulfilled. But yeah, when the ownership and the direction of the team, fans don't get a
Yeah.
vote, but fans do get a secondary vote once the decision's been made. And if
Yeah.
and that would go if Jerry Reinsdorf was revealed as XYZ type of person. It would, of course, to me, it would affect my fandom. I know a lot of people say, "Man, you're a clown." I've just turned off this podcast because of what you just said, Brett. But that's just my honest answer, and it's a curiosity because that's a real challenge. It's right across town, and I mean, obviously, it's not new. They didn't just buy the team, and I think pretty much people knew what they were to begin with. I don't think it's been any real slow revelation. It's probably got worse over the last 4 years because a lot more stuff has come out about that family, and it's post title, so there's no bloom on the rose any longer. But honestly speaking, I don't know how I'd be able to, and listen, man, hat off to somebody who can, because they're certainly, the Cubs are not the only team out there in the sports world owned by hideous people, but boy, it'd be tough. It would be real tough.
And then like you brought up, I mean, it's not just a player, it's the leadership is a long time and generational, so it's like you're signing up for trying to hang on for, I mean, even people who are not happy with Jerry sometimes, and they're like, can we get a new owner? It's like, just don't even and be careful what you wish for, but also
what you wish for. It's true. Because especially who's coming in now to I mean, Steve Cohen's a hero in New York. And, I think I was listening to, oh, by the way, Killer Bees. That's Keelin's podcast with Tommy Barbee. I'm just down her for one, while there's a holiday break or something. Apparently she's getting holiday pay for this one. But, you guys were talking about it, and, he's seen as like this folk hero because he's active on Twitter and he's vowing to spend, and he's not the Will Ponds. And I mean, all those things are great. At the same time, well, yeah, okay, he's no hero. He's not
it's
even
all
like
rich people. It's all rich people.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I guess it's shades of gray because you've got was it Steve Ballmer, who owns the Clippers, who seems generally like an all around pretty good, dude, like the dude you want Steve Cohen to be, And I mean, listen, the guy can't do anything about his past, can't do anything about how he got his billions to buy a baseball team. I get it. It's done. It's on, it's on the record. And I guess if you're a Mets fan, you're just like, okay, let's roll with this. He's going to be a good guy now. And he seems to be saying the right thing. So that's cool. And I guess it's fair to say, all right, you just turn a page. He won't be a robber baron with my team. I don't know. You hope, he doesn't like sign a new TV deal and run or something. But yeah, you're right. Careful what you wish for, because there's no sweethearts out there where, there's not going to be any Green Bay Packers ownership. Ever. Again. So.
Yeah. And I mean, I think another controversial thing is like the same thing to be fair, we don't know what's going to happen yet, but same thing when like Ricky Renteria was leaving and everybody was like, yay. It was like, okay, but who's going to come in? We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, when literally the guy who did the hiring and firing, or at least the firing, has got to go to bed at night saying, okay, now again, would I have done this if I knew how this was going to play out? And I mean, we can't speak for Rick Hahn, but you have to assume, based on everything he said, no, he would not have, if he knew not only that this would be the hire, but it would be shoved down his throat with no process at all.
Yeah.
Because if nothing else, you can set up a camera, film the 5 interviews you're allowed to have, including the one with Tony La Russa, show them to the owner and say, okay, seriously, really? Okay, I won't identify any of the people we're talking to here, but tell me which guy you absolutely would not hire versus the guys you might.
Yeah.
Especially given it's going to be at a discount price, as opposed to your guy, which I don't even know. Do we even know his rate or his contract?
I don't think so.
I'm out of the loop now, so I don't really know, but I think it's just.
I have no idea.
For as long as he wants to do it, and
that's
by the way.
I've been so curious about him. Like, how much is he getting paid? I don't know.
And keep in mind, they're still paying Ricky Renteria. So, I mean, this is on top of anything. They're already still paying him for that mystery contract extension they gave him in the middle of the night in late 2018 or something. So, they're paying at least 2 managers. I think Robin Ventura is off the payroll now, but Yeah, at least 2 managers, and the current one did not come cheap. I'm sure he
No.
wasn't like, "Hey, because you hired me back, let's do it for a penny."
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I would be very curious to know that.
So we
for sure.
touched on it a little bit in terms of just whether or not we're going to play a full baseball season, but more broadly speaking, what do you anticipate for 2021? Do we see a turn? Do we see good things? Do we see a struggle? Obviously, we have a change in leadership at the top, which hopefully brings some brighter days because it's at least just competent and normal. But we put too much into that? Do we think it's still going to be some dark days ahead?
I feel like I'm a little worried about it. I feel like I'm naturally like skeptical about things. I will put that. Like I can be a Debbie Downer, or I feel like it's like healthy to be skeptical of new situations when, there's not like a proven thing to this. Like, yeah, sure, I see a lot of people being like, oh, well, Tony La Russa, he's won World Series. It's like, yes, but under what circumstances and how long ago were those and that kind of thing. Things are a lot different now. And I know people don't like to hear that, but that's just the truth. Like players are a little different now. Obviously we don't have all of the stuff with performance enhancing drugs. It's not the same. And I think sometimes the expectation for coaches, people will be like, this formula worked for this team, but we don't know that. So I'm like very skeptical. I think just by nature of like the players we have will do okay. I hope we'll do great. And I know I see like power rankings MLB put out were like 6th today, which was kind of like, it was funny. Who was ahead of us? The Twins.
Yeah, Twins are only American League team, I think.
Yeah, so that was interesting because I think we had been like 5th. But yeah, I mean, I feel positive, middling positive. I think, the changes in the players will be interesting and the coaching will be interesting. And then I do think if we do have a full season, those guys didn't play that full season last year. So I am still like wary of how they will handle that as well. So that's how I feel. I'm keeping positive. Yeah. Generally positive. But, I still have like some skepticism or like wait and see things in the back of my head. And Tony La Russa is one thing, but I'm interested in how like Adam Eaton is going to fit in. And I'm not.
It helps to have Tony La Russa, I think, really.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll. Yeah.
I think they're cut from the same cloth. So. And
I think Tommy like gave this example, or more like painted this mental picture of he was like, I think Tony La Russa, if Adam Eaton acts out, Tony La Russa will dump his ass in the dumpster or something like that. I was like, I like that mental image.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly hope it's just not all in for the feisty grinder guy, because I think probably most managers like that, as much as we disdain that as fans and realize that that's sort of some kind of weird charade. I think most managers probably do enjoy that, and obviously, Ricky liked Leroy, as he always called him, Leroy, as being glue guy and all that. So I mean, I think there's some appreciation, but yeah, to know that if there is some BS going on where he's like, okay, just get out. If he starts doing this thing where Drake LaRoche is a team leader and he's campaigning him to be the DH on the team or something, then yeah, maybe he will show, and maybe he has the power to do that, because it's arguably the second most powerful person in the White Sox organization is now Tony La Russa. Go figure. But if that's the case, then yeah, he pretty much has hiring, firing power. I mean, Rick Hahn's going to be an accomplice, but I'm not sure that he necessarily is going to be able to override. Rick could not override the managerial hire.
Yeah, especially I mean, the relationship between him, Tony, and Jerry. It's kind of like, where does Rick Hahn fit in now? Like, when does his say matter now?
It's something we just published today, Sunday night. We're talking, which is explains the mellow, chill, cool, like
chill vibe,
art background of this podcast, but James Fox just published something, addressed what seems to be the likely next signing for the White Sox, which is Liam Hendriks, a closer, and probably not necessarily going to come cheap, even though I don't know that there are many teams competing with the White Sox for his services. What's the feeling, Keelin, I guess as we wind this up, about putting significant money or years into a closer, which is traditionally pretty volatile?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tommy and I talked about this too, but yeah, I mean, I think it is a bit of a gamble, especially because like he's good, but we don't know how good he's going to be. Like you said, it's volatile, so it's a little scary. But again, I'm taking my healthy dose of skepticism and tempering it with some positivity. I know fan wise, people are wanting some of those holes to be filled, and I think a lot of people feel that this is it, but we'll see.
It's tricky to give into that thirst to say, okay, we did some. It's like making a trade for trade's sake. And I'm not saying that Liam Hendriks represents that, but given that there are bigger needs and given that this is going to be probably prohibitive costs, probably prohibitive commitment, it's an interesting direction to go. It's like the White Sox choose the area of least competition when it comes to the open market. And I guess you still get credit for doing something, because I guess that's better than nothing, but I'm not sure that it necessarily seems wise or strategic when we're talking about a bullpen that's already very strong, and there are still gaps on this team. Maybe not many, but there are still some pretty wide open gaps.
Yeah, the things that are happening right now, it's interesting. Like with the pitchers, I mean, Lance Lynn happened, which was, I did not expect that. I'm not mad about it, but I didn't expect it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I thought Liam Hendriks was already going to happen. So I saw James's article and I was like, okay, good. This is still on the table. But like you said, I don't know that that's like the answer. I'm not looking for that to be an answer at all. For that, I think right field is more of what I'm like, what's going to happen?
That the thing that could really be a stab in the heart is, and this is a downer attitude, but it's something you have to anticipate, and it's what made the Adam Eaton signing seizing like the first day of free agent or winter meetings to sign him at not nothing. Was it $1 million? I know it wasn't a lot, but it was not nothing. Is that what if this market is nothing? What if Marcell Ozuna signs for $10 million? What if George Springer's market, not that I'm dying to have George Springer on the team, but what if his market is bottoms out, is nothing? I mean, I gotta say Trevor Bauer, because everybody's talking him up and pitching's always at a premium, but there are so many quality guys still out there who seem like, just because of the crush of the fact that there are not a lot of teams participating in the open market, a lot of teams are crying poor, probably including ours, but I mean, they know there's got to be some money out there. They know they have to spend something.
Yeah.
That perhaps this market falls back to the Sox, and then they've already committed $70 million to Adam Eaton. Maybe they're going to commit, into the mid-teens on Liam Hendriks, and it's whoops! Oh, well, now we are handcuffed. Even though, holy cow, all the solutions, all our prayers are they're just running around. They're playing in. They went to Japan to play because nobody paid them here. I mean, that's an extreme example, but that's the thing I'm wary of and feeling nervous about, because nobody signed. There's still a ton of talent out there, and what the White Sox are filling and who they're filling it with, Lance Lynn accepted, which is a trade, by the way, isn't doing it. And these two, they're not really doing it. So I hope, if nothing else, it means, hey, listen, if like with Edwin Encarnacion last year, didn't really necessarily need to get him. He was sort of there. The Sox were on a roll. It's like, okay, 11 million, whatever, 12 million, not the hugest commitments a year. All right, why not? And at that point I thought, man, they're just like running up the score. They're just getting a little nutty. Now, if they want to take that approach and say, hey, if George Springer's still out there, if Marcell Ozuna's still out there for nothing, hey, why not? There's no salary cap. Okay. If that's our attitude, fine. But if it's going to be, hey, we already spent our money, well, all these useful guys are just running around looking for jobs. We're going to have to talk about it on podcast, because it's going to be frustrating.
Yes. It will be. Way to go, negative Nancy. Just kidding.
Man, I managed to usurp your Debbie Downer ness. But I did point out the grapefruit sunrise, so I'm not all dark clouds. Oh, there it is. Going to make another appearance. Oh my God.
Buy my art. Buy my art. Just kidding. It's not for sale. But if anybody wants to buy this art, they can buy it. I'll take
leave a comment. Leave a comment.
If you're not,
shipping.
I know I might get some comments deriding me for asking people not to call women females. But if you're not going to do that, consider buying my art. And if you are going to do it, consider buying my art, because I'll need my money to wipe my tears away.
There you go. It all points to consider buying the art. There are going to be at least probably one, maybe two links to Keelin's work in the body of this piece. There is more to come. We have previewed at least one tantalizing idea, and perhaps who knows another if like Blackjack ever calls back.
I'm waiting.
We have some interesting stuff. And then of course there's always ugly uniform additions that seem to be, I have to say, we don't really have formal beats at Southside Sox, but I think ugly caps, if not just ugly gear, I think you've made it yours. So
this makes me feel good, and I can handle this. And yes, I do have some thoughts running around about what's this 2021 spring training hat going to look like, the new era. How can they?
These aren't things you should struggle with.
Last year was bad. I don't know, what are they going to do to one up that?
Look at the collage that you've just flashed a couple times. That's like a collage piece that doesn't make my head, hurt. It makes me say, wow, that's a cool way to combine some different
shapes. I know how to combine basic shapes. Okay.
Yeah. So, hey, MLB, right there.
Right here. Let me do your hats.
Get over the fact, salve the wounds of the last article she wrote about.
It was constructive
nasty hat, and get over that, and let's move forward, because you do this again, you're going to get another piece, and probably more people are going to write it. I'm sure more people did write about it. I'm sure a Pirates writer wrote about a terrible Pirates hat, or a Padres writer wrote about another terrible camo hat, or whatever their goofy thing was. So, I don't think you're necessarily the only one. Objecting.
I know I can't be, even our own people. We're like,
there's permanent vision damage done by some of this stuff. So.
I don't know if I told you this, but it's related. I went to the Sports Depot place next to the field, Chicago Sports Depot, and they had in the corner just like a whole spinny rack of those hats, and they were just shoved over in the corner. And I was like, see.
It were like some bands or something will offer like just a download, free or no, a physical copy even free, because man, we got still got 3 crates of this. We can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
We're never going to buy it. Are these at these? Yeah, this is just we are going to give you 2 or 3 of these hats if you order anything else. If you buy anything else. You should have. Did they offer? Did you buy anything? You could have just said I'd like this game program, and they give you 3 hats, and then we'd have something to talk about.
They should do that. They should just do giveaways. Honestly, they should listen to me.
Maybe collage work of the collage hats. So maybe if they do offer them free to you, it's time to get out the scissors like Chris Sale and
do that.
Because I guarantee it's going to be a lot more attractive than that hat ended up looking. So, we've teased some prime work coming from Keelin.
Get ready for my nonsense. Accept it into your hearts, and it'll be a fun ride.
This is what happens on the podcast when the year turns over. It's cold outside. It's cold in the hot stove. And that's
cold in my heart.
Frankly, cold in all our hearts. Frankly, and Liam Hendriks, even if that was to be a signing, it still leaves question marks. It fills a role that sort of maybe didn't quite need to be filled, probably not at least at the pay rate. So, the hot stove still is going to get lukewarm, even if that's the signing. We get to talk about that all week. So, this is what happens. And we thank you for sticking it out. We thank you for always listening and sometimes even watching, paying attention to Southside Sox Podcast. And guess what? We're going to have many more. We have at least one a week. So we're going to have Keelin on again. Whether or not anybody buys her art, whether or not anybody has a wonderful comment for her adorable dog, Mr. Wendal, who even has a theme song. Even if there are no comments left whatsoever, we're going to have you back.
Yeah, we are.
We're going to do that?
Yeah.
We can lament the
you.
lost Wrigleyville Taco Bell.
R.I.P. to that fake Mexican food that fed me while I was in the dumps.
Feed some of those who make the odd choice to be vegan consumers. Just even still, doesn't even matter that it's just cheap food because there's just not a lot of options. So
they had. Did they take away the beans?
Taco Bell. Oh, boy, I hope not.
I think it was the potatoes they took away. They're planning on taking away the potatoes if they haven't already. I'm sorry for your vegan loss.
Well, I'm not even sure how much of that stuff is technically vegan, but we do seek it out and eat those few things. So hat tip Taco Bell. Yeah, no reason to send anything because we're shouting you out, but we are lamenting your loss in Wrigleyville. And there's not many things I lament the loss of in Wrigleyville, frankly.
Yeah, so. They took down Taco Bell. They took down the McDonald's.
Rest in peace, fast food in Wrigleyville. All for a mall. All for a Gymboree. That's what it is. Isn't it called
Gymboree? I thought that was a children's clothing store. I have no idea. I don't know. I also don't have children, so it's a mystery. It'll have to remain that way.
Ditto. Okay, let's call it Gymboree. Let's call Wrigley Field and its environs just a Gymboree.
It is.
Gymboree with beer.
Yep.
Ice skating.
Ice skating, Starbucks.
Charming.
Food halls.
And to think that Sox Park was once criticized for being a shopping mall. Oh boy.
Better. The food is better.
Hello. And as it seems, the Cuban food is about to get a lot better, given the fact that this team is now significantly Cuban, even more significantly Cuban. It has been suggested that the Cuban cuisine quality be upped, and I would guess that the White Sox are going to take that on big time. So
hell yes,
that's cool. Better.
Exciting.
Better Cuban set.
If we get
out to the ball.
Yeah. If we don't, I agree. If we don't get to, then I'm just going to be sad. But
you just have to dump the nacho helmet at home. Tweet it out. That'll get you some votes in the 1-8 tournament that you may or may not be part of.
I'm gonna get a kiddie pool. Listen, I'll get a kiddie pool if I'm in, and I might need to crowd fund the actual getting of the supplies, and then I'll dump it. I will have some clothing on.
You could auction.
How much?
You could auction the opportunities for dump to be dumpers.
That could go down like so many weird paths.
Yeah.
But I'm not
attention getting device.
I'll do it.
I mean, you're already in the pool. What's the matter?
I'll get the kiddie pool. I'll get some sort of outfit. That'll be a surprise. But everybody else has to provide the nachos, which will be dumped, or ice cream. Yeah,
what time of year is it? Is it cool? I guess that would really sort of determine it. Indoor, outdoor.
Yeah, it might be a little too cold.
All right.
I would still do it outside. Yeah, like where am I going to do it? I'm on the third floor. I have a roof. Well, like what if the drippings come through my roof? It could be disastrous.
And as Mr. Wendal, this is officially, we're now into like extra time bonus track material. I can't believe this is still part of the podcast, but is Mr. Wendal going to be part of the proceedings? He might get too grumpy. He's not going to.
He will bark at everyone, but then he'll want to.
That could provide protection that you may need.
Yeah. I mean, if I can like bid out this dumping service, I might need protection. Let's be real here.
I'm gonna guess so. You got husband at a safe distance in the background, Wendal in the fray, and then
he would just be laughing. Like he would think it was hilarious.
And then whatever waivers signed by the dumpers, because clearly there's got to be some ground.
Did rules. You have like testing before this was done? Like, are you clean?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Tetanus shot. That's.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. Okay. Masked dumpers. You're making a strong bid to get into this. I don't think you're gonna have to do the playing round. I think you've shot past me at about 801 in the power rankings, and I think you're moving.
Who wants to be a masked dumper? That's all it comes down to. If you want to be a masked dumper.
All right. Well, okay. The gauntlet has been thrown, and now it's going to be decision making of whatever this. Man,
I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works.
108, give us some support because we have somehow given you like 20 minutes of love here.
We have. You're welcome.
Side Sox
Even though we weren't
Podcast.
included on Bennett's serve or whatever contest.
Yeah.
I voted for us, but
yeah. I think the one year we were in the 108 tournament, I think it was like some kind of grudge match between what was then the ex Southside Sox guy, Jim, and Southside Sox. Maybe it was Sox Machine, Southside Sox, or Jim versus Southside Sox. And we got crushed badly because, I don't know, because we're not pretty enough. I don't know. But
we'll do it again.
Well,
take us on.
I am not pitching for it unless, of course, I can be in the male bracket. Otherwise, I'm going to the NIT, Keelin.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Your masculinity is important.
Big time.
I
Very
want you
clearly.
You have your Zen room in your
Very
space.
very clearly,
Yes.
Keelin. Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up. The credits are rolling on Southside Sox Podcast number 16. Thank you, everybody, for listening, reading. Keep an eye out for the pseudoscience meets the Chicago White Sox. That'll be coming up, let's just say, in January. It's a coming attraction for January. And who knows what else? We've got tons of stuff going on right now. We've got all our Hall of Fame voting going on in January. We've got the top 100 prospect countdown beginning. The top prospect vote has already begun. There's a lot of stuff going on for the dead of winter. So
hell yeah.
Keep reading, enjoy, and as always, thanks for listening, watching, reading, and we'll be back with you with another Southside Sox podcast. I think that would be number 17. Maybe Lenny will come back and make his triumphant return to the podcast, given that he ended up on the cutting room floor with my user error podcast a couple weeks ago. Oh yeah, we had. It was the best one ever. The best one ever. He actually came up with the idea of the kiddie pool to get into the tournament even before you.
Lenny and I will go in together. Sorry, Lenny's wife. That does not mean anything bad.
The idea
doesn't sound good.
Better and better. Well, I think he's going to have to come on the podcast now very shortly, just to clarify certain circumstances of this podcast. So thank you, everybody, for listening, watching, and joining with us. Bid on the art. Say hi to adorable Mr. Wendal, and look forward to the 108 tournament featuring kiddie pools and a male bracket.
Lenny. Yes.
With Lenny.